The coffee shop on Maple Street had seen better days. The sign outside flickered slightly, one letter dimmer than the rest, like it was too tired to keep pretending. Inside, worn leather booths sagged from years of use, and chipped ceramic mugs carried the quiet history of 1,000 conversations. This was not the kind of place billionaires visited, which is exactly why Marcus Bennett chose it. He sat alone in the corner booth, shoulders slightly hunched, blending in as best as someone like him could. The flannel shirt he wore was intentionally faded. The jeans were ordinary. Even his watch, normally a statement piece worth more than most cars, had been replaced with a simple, forgettable one. 7:03 p.m. 3 minutes late. Deliberate. Perfect. Marcus had learned something over the past 4 months. Something no business school or billion-dollar deal had ever taught him. Real people ran late. Not dramatically. Not disrespectfully. Just enough to prove they had lives. And tonight, like 8 times before, Marcus wasn't Marcus. He was Mark, a construction worker, a man with calloused hands, though he'd forgotten to rough them up this time. A man with a simple life. A man women didn't want for his money. At least, that was the idea. Because every time Marcus had told the truth, every time a woman learned who he really was, the shift was instant. Subtle at first, then obvious. Their laughter changed. Their questions changed. And eventually, their intentions changed. Marcus didn't want to be admired. He wanted to be known. The bell above the door chimed. And just like that, everything shifted. She wasn't what he expected. Not even close. No designer outfit. No calculati desmaid. No polished perfection. Instead, she walked in wearing scrubs. Colorful ones. Cartoon butterflies scattered across the fabric. Her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, slightly messy. They weren't trying to impress anyone. They were tired. Real tired. The kind of tired that didn't come from boredom, but from responsibility. She scanned the room quickly. Efficient. Focused. Mark, she called out, uncertain. Marcus stood too quickly, nearly knocking over his coffee. That's me, he said. You must be Rachel. Rachel Morgan crossed the room with quick steps and slid into the booth across from him. I'm so sorry I'm late, she said immediately. My shift ran over. Then I had to pick up my daughter in traffic. She stopped herself, laughed softly. Saw the long day. Marcus smiled. For the first time in weeks, it wasn't forced. No problem at all. And he meant it. Rachel ordered coffee like someone who needed it to survive. Not enjoy it. Not savor it. Survive it. Pediatric ICU, she explained after a moment. Marcus paused. That sounds intense. Rachel let out a quiet breath. It is. We had a little boy this morning, car accident. She stared into her coffee for a second. He made it, she added quickly. He's stable. But Marcus could see it. The weight didn't disappear just because the outcome was good. It stayed, sat on her shoulders, lived in her eyes. And for some reason, Marcus found that more beautiful than anything he'd seen in years. I should be honest, Rachel said suddenly. Marcus leaned forward slightly. I almost canceled tonight. That caught him off guard. Why didn't you? She smiled faintly. My neighbor forced me to come. He raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Very seriously, she said. She told me I've forgotten I'm a person. Marcus chuckled. She might not be wrong. She's not, Rachel admitted. Then she looked at him directly, and her tone shifted. Clear. Firm. No games, okay? Marcus blinked. I don't have time for them. She continued without hesitation. I work 50 hours a week. I'm raising a 5-year-old. I have student loans that feel like they'll never end. She paused. If you're looking for something casual, fun, easy. She shook her head. I'm not your person. Silence hung between them. And for the first time in months, Marcus felt something real. Not attraction. Not curiosity. Respect. I'm not looking for casual, he said quietly. Rachel studied him. Really studied him. And something in her expression softened. Good, she said. 2 hours passed like 10 minutes. They talked about everything. Her daughter, Sophie, who believed the moon was made of mozzarella cheese. Her job. Her dreams of becoming a nurse practitioner someday, even though it felt impossible. Marcus liet. Of course he did. About his work. His life. His struggles. Each lie felt heavier than the last. But he couldn't stop, because for the first time, someone was seeing him without the filter of money. Outside, the night air was cool. Rachel wrapped her cardigan tighter. "I had a really nice time," she said. Marcus nodded. "So did I." She hesitated. Then, "Do you want to meet Sophie?" Marcus froze. "That's fast," he said carefully. "I don't do slow," Rachel replied. "Not with a kid involved." Fair, honest, terrifying, but also exactly what he wanted. "I'd like that," he said. Rachel smiled, and it hit him harder than it should have. "Saturday," she said. "Butterfly exhibit at the museum." Marcus felt his stomach drop. The museum. Of all places. The one building in the city he couldn't hide in. Because his name, his face, were literally part of it. "That sounds perfect," he said anyway, even as his mind spiraled. The next 3 days were chaos. Controlled chaos. The kind only billionaires could create. Marcus paced his office while his COO, David, stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "You want us to remove your face from a museum?" "Temporarily relocate," Marcus corrected. "And the Bennett wing? Cover the name." David blinked. "Marcus, what are you doing?" Marcus didn't answer right away. Then finally, "I met someone." David sighed. "Of course you did." Saturday arrived like a countdown. Marcus showed up early. Nervous, which was absurd. He'd negotiated billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat. But this terrified him. Rachel and Sophie were already there. Sophie wore a purple dress covered in butterflies, and shoes that lit up when she walked. She held a stuffed butterfly like it was treasure. Marcus crouched down. "You must be Sophie." She looked at him seriously. "Are you my mom's friend?" Marcus smiled. "I hope so." She thought about it, then nodded. "You're okay." High praise. The day was perfect, simple, beautiful, real. Sophie laughed. Rachel smiled in a way that didn't feel guarded. Marcus forgot, just for a little while, that his entire life was built on a lie. Until the gift shop. The butterfly kit. $45. Nothing to him. Everything to them. When Sophie put it back, without being asked, something inside Marcus broke. That moment changed him more than any boardroom ever had. The second date was even harder. Because now, he cared. Really cared. And lies become heavier when there's something to lose. And eventually, the truth came out. Not clean. Not planned. Not graceful. It shattered everything. Rachel's trust. Sophie's innocence. Marcus's illusion that he could control the outcome. "You lied to me," Rachel said. And there was no defense. No strategy. No negociation. Just truth. "Yes," he said, and watched everything fall apart. The days after were worse than any failure Marcus had ever faced. Because this time, money couldn't fix it. Influence couldn't fix it. Nothing could. Except change. Real change. So he did something different. Not for image. Not for redemption. But because it finally meant something. He built something real. A butterfly garden. At the hospital. For kids. For Sophie. For Rachel. For a life he finally understood. And when Rachel saw it, she didn't forgive him immediately. Because real people don't do that. But she saw him. Really saw him. Not the billionaire. Not the lie. But the man trying. For the first time. To be honest. And sometimes, that's enough to start again. 6 months later, the rooftop garden bloomed with life. Butterflies drifted through the air. Children laughed. And Marcus stood at the front, waiting. Not as Mark. Not hiding. But as himself. Finally. Completely. Truthfully. Rachel walked toward him. And this time, there were no lies between them. Only something far more fragile. And far more powerful. Trust.